Box Talk Time. If you haven't figured out by now, that's what it is when you see the lights, camera, action. Let's go. I am your host, Oliver Green, of the show The Box. The Box is a place where men can come and be free. The Box is a place where men can be themselves and not feel judged. The Box is a place that you can sit and be as vulnerable as you would like to be. What I know is when men get together, they're usually in close confines, and when they're in the box, they tend to express the things that are bothering them the most. The things that they can't talk about, the things that they don't talk about, the things that they won't talk about in fear of being judged, in fear of feeling a certain kind of way, just in fear of. And everybody has a different in fear of. But I'm here to tell you that one of my goals for doing the box is to leave a vault of information for my grandson and my granddaughter. The information that is discussed in the box is not just for men, but it's for men to help men become better men. I have an affinity for men that were raised by single mothers. And I have that affinity because I myself, Oliver Green, was raised by a single mother. And there were things that I realized at a later stage in life that I missed. And I missed them because that was my mom and she couldn't give them to me. But that's that's the overview of, why or how the box became a thing. The more you listen, the more you learn, the more you tune in, the more questions hopefully you'll have for yourself. And we're going to jump right in. Understanding this, when you decide that you want to deal with your issues or you want to deal with your ish, you have to be sure that you are going to be open, honest, and transparent. I like to call that hot because you have to be open and honest and transparent to deal with your ish, but you have to be open and honest and transparent to deal with your ish. You have to be willing and ready and able to know when you decide to figure out why I do the things that I do, why I respond the way that I respond, is because of this. And how many of you know when you finally do take that plunge of trying to figure out why I do or why I respond this way, it very well may open a door. It may open up a can of worms that a lot of people aren't willing or able to deal with. And I don't know about you, but when in the process of dealing with my ish, when I got pulled on the carpet, I shut down. I didn't want to talk. I became very defensive. And I didn't know why. I felt inadequate. All the things that, and there are other things that may have arose, but those are the things that come to mind right now. When you feel inadequate as a man, and if you've paid any attention to the things that society says men are supposed to be or men are supposed to become, and you don't meet those standards or those things, it can put you in a special place. It can send you off the deep edge. And my goal is to help you and myself recognize those things that may possibly set you off the deep edge. I have recently become a grandfather twice in 2023. My son had a daughter, my daughter had a son. Crazy, right? And talking to my wife one day, I was like, I don't have to raise no more kids. And she's like, well, you do. And I'm like, no, I don't. My kids are grown. My youngest set of twins are 18. And then it hit me. I have this, and at this time, my grandson wasn't born. But now that he's here and it's been 2 months, I don't know if you've ever heard the attach the thing that you're doing to a purpose and you'll never quit. That's my purpose. To make sure that he doesn't have to go through the things that I went through. He's able to recognize his ish and deal with it. And some may say, well, what qualifies you? Because I have a 26-year-old that I didn't recognize my ish, and for the lack of a better explanation, I didn't directly take it out on him, but he felt the effects of my actions. And I pause because every time that I say it, in the moment, I didn't see it. In the moment when I was going back and forth with his mom, I didn't see it. I didn't care. I just wanted to win. And that was the bottom line. If I could win, guess what? We wouldn't have these problems. We weren't going to have these issues. Nope, they weren't going to take place at all. But you have to get to a place where you realize the things that you do are a detriment to those that you say you care about. I had the opportunity to talk to some youth um, at one of the programs that I supervise, and I talked about agitation, and I used a washing machine, and I asked them, what does a washing machine do? Real open, general question, and they gave me everything beside it agitates. And after they, let them talk about the things that it does, I asked them, what will you do when the agitation comes? And the responses that I got, and these are 18 to 21-year-olds, the responses that I got from these young men and women were like crazy, but they really weren't. If somebody says something to me, I'm going to say something to them. And I gave them a scenario, and they said, well, what would you do? And I said, the reality of it is, where I'm at in my life now and what it is that I know, I'd have to eat it. If I knew some of the things that, no, yeah, if I knew some of the things that I know now, if I knew them back then, the relationship with my son probably wouldn't be the way that it is. I wouldn't be in the process of, after 26 years, of trying to rebuild the relationship. And here's the problem. Because I'm in the rebuilding part, he has a daughter. And he doesn't want to let the daughter experience the things, the hurt that he experienced. So he very well is hesitant in allowing me to be in on the process. I think it helps that we live in two different states and we're not close, and it takes planning to get from point A to point B. But I think you get my point. But talking to the youth, talking to the young adults about agitation, what will you do when the agitation comes? And I think that's where we have to focus on. For so many years, men, young guys, young boys, we've been agitated and we have not understood how to deal with the agitation. We've dealt with the agitation based upon what our environment has told us or showed us how to deal with. And I don't know about you, but that response isn't necessarily always the best response. So, moving forward, I want to get to a place to talk about the agitation. How do you deal with the agitation when the agitation comes? And I think one of the ways that we deal with the agitation is understanding why the agitation is there. The agitation is there for a reason. It's either there to shake us up or shake us off. The agitation is either there to shake us up or to shake us off. Now, in that spin cycle, the agitation gets the clothes clean. But at the same time, in that washing machine, the agitation gets the clothes clean. It does that intentionally. And then it spins. And in that spinning cycle, it releases the water off. How does that equate to when we're at work or we're in the streets or we're at the club and something's about to jump off? How do we respond? Do we walk away? Do we engage and insert ourselves where we shouldn't? Or do we freeze? The reality of it is, I would say the majority of the responses that I would get is we jump right in. And then we justify why we jump right in. Here's the problem. If you're the problem, if what you've done adds to the situation, you're part of the problem. How does that equate to growing up and not being hot? If you don't know how to deal with the situation, if you don't know how to deal with the agitation, not if it comes, but when it comes, I'm going to say on the high end, 8 out of 10 times, you're going to handle the agitation the wrong way. And then you'll justify why you did what it is that you did. So I don't know about you. I'm going to put a pin in that. I'm going to leave that right here. And we're going to jump back in on the next episode to talk about how the agitation of the thing, if not dealt with properly, can leave lasting effects on us as men as we get older. How many of us know, and if you don't know, you're about to figure it out. If you don't have a positive role model, if you don't have a positive male role model in your circle growing up, and you're left to fend for yourself, you're going to figure out how to do it the best way you know how, and the best way that doesn't create a doesn't create agitation for you, because when the agitation comes, you don't deal with it. So I look forward to you tuning in. One of the things I want to say before I jump off is listen to this and leave a comment. Listen to this and leave a comment. Because little do you know, your comment may spark a conversation in the person or the people that are reading it. I think we forget because we're not being open, honest, and transparent with ourselves. And remember, anything that you do, you have to attach a thing to it. So when it gets tough, you don't want to quit. If you don't have a thing attached to your why, when your why decides to go left, you gonna go left, and you're going to question why I chose that thing. Why is it not working? Opposed to trying to figure out what is it that I need to do, because the agitation has come, to get back on track. All right, I'll talk soon. Again, leave a comment. If you found some value, I just ask that you like this, share this with somebody that you may know that may need that word of encouragement, that may be going through or has gone through the agitation process and just hasn't figured out how to deal with it effectively. I'm your host, Oliver Green, and I look forward to serving you in the future. Talk soon.